Hey, Overlord. Hey, I'm glad you liked it, Dorkborn. Let's see. Forgot what the fuck I'm looking for monorail stuff. Nah, I'm just gonna have to use the highway pillar. Wanted to put something down so that way I've got something to kind of mark out where the pillars are. So that way I can still work around them, because that's kind of being a problem. These take up so much less space, though. I really need to find... find the monorail stuff, because there's supposed to be monorail stuff in... Wait, no, I think I found it, actually. Is this it? Kind of. That's not really exactly what I'm looking for. That's actually a little bit closer to what I'm trying to find here. Not exactly right. We've got these being made for us, the monorail things, but yeah, you can't get everything immediately. So the monorail is in the Nuka World files, but we're wanting to remake the Fallout 3 monorail stuff because the Fallout 4 ones from Nuka World look so different. Yeah, in fact, my road's actually a little bit off. That's not too big a deal. Like, we can change that up just a little bit without there being too much of an issue, especially with the way it's all broken up and everything. But it's good to mark out where these should go for future use whenever I have to come back and replace them eventually. Okay, so how far exactly does this cliffside go? It goes about midway into the next cell, so yeah, you can pretty much kind of see where it's mapped out there. Yeah, Fallout 3 did feel pretty empty. There's not something like every 5 seconds for you to do, and I'm a little bit worried that there's no good way for us to make it feel exactly the same way. because of the fact that in Fallout 4 you have mechanics like sprinting and things like that. And there's really nothing that we can do about that except to make the map even larger than it originally was, which that would not that would be like overkill for us to do, unfortunately. Let's see. What was that? Hello from Russia. Is it Fallout 3 on Fallout 4 engine? Yes, it is. When are you planning on finishing development? There is no way for us to answer that question, unfortunately, Petrenka. With the kind of development for a project like this, it's impossible for us to give an estimated release date. It's hard for us to even say how done we are currently with how everything is currently going. Like we've got a map that shows off kind of how much work we've got done, but that map is also kind of something that we're wanting to keep secret for now, even though there's a good chunk of it already done. Surprisingly, I don't know what's going on here. The creation kit's being weird. It's been doing this, and I don't know why. Every time I try to smooth out areas on the map, after I'm done clicking, it'll freeze up, and I don't really understand why, because it's never done that before. I think it's just because we're starting to get into such a larger, we've got so much more complete, I guess, that it's starting to like kind of bog down the creation kit. But I mean, at least placing objects and everything is fine. It's literally just smoothing out the landscape. That's where this issue comes up. Because unfortunately, when we were importing the height map, there are certain little inconsistencies and errors that'll pop up whenever you're doing that. And we're having to like work around those a lot. And one of those inconsistencies and errors that'll pop up a lot is like the landscape ends up becoming a lot more jagged than it originally was, so we have to kind of smooth it down. So like the map is not going to be super 100% accurate. Like it's the same size and everything, but like there are going to be some areas where there might be a hill here that wasn't in the original, or there's like a dip in the landscape where it wasn't there in the original. But that's overall fine, because for the most part we're still going to have the same kind of like general silhouette to the world, if that makes any sense. You'll still be able to find like small things based on land markers and all that stuff. Like if there's like an item next to a tree in the world, you'll still be able to find that tree and that item and all that. We're making sure to keep stuff like that in. But it won't be 100%, and no problem, Petrenka. I'm really happy that you're excited for this, because we're working on it and we're super excited for it. Like every time somebody else shows progress for what they've been doing recently for the project, and I see it, I'm just like, fuck, I want to play it now. And the funny thing is that like I kind of have the option to play it now, but the world is still very empty and there's not a lot to do necessarily. But we're getting there. And hello, Koch. I've messed up on your name before, I think. Kochmi Hanat and Rayictus. Or Rayictus? I want to say it's Rayictus. But let's see, for the I'm not sure what you're trying to say there, Dork. There is no outcast armor in Oasis that you can get, that I know of, anyway. You should be able to get the power armor, like the outcast power armor, the same way you can in the base game, like by finding like dead outcasts and stuff. What music is this death battle? This music is from the, because I listen to video game soundtracks while I work. This is actually the soundtrack for a game called Max Anarchy. No, the game is shit. I forgot how it is. Hold on. The game is Anarchy Reigns, and the soundtrack is called Max Anarchy. That's what it is. It's like a 3D fighting game. It's really fun. Hey, Big Lebowski. For those of you who are kind of newer and joining the stream for the first time, because I have been streaming for like months, working on this project and everything. But if you're a newer watcher, get used to seeing this. So far, a lot of remaking the DC Wasteland is me copy pasting rocks and trying to get them to kind of line up into what I need them to be. Oh, wait, hold on. I think I got a Facebook notification. Hey, Ethan. Yeah, there are lots and lots of rocks and dead trees, but yeah, I didn't know that there's an ex-outcast there. That's news to me. That's something I never knew about. Yeah, no, I'll definitely check that out later. Like, I'm not doubting you or anything. I just didn't know. Wow, this little stretch of road here is actually surprisingly intact. What did I do with Harold? Oh wait, hold on one second. Let's see, home resonance. Sorry, I missed your message earlier, Rictus. I'm not familiar with home resonance. I'll probably check it out later when I'm off stream, just to make sure it's something that I would like to listen to. I'm very picky about my music. And yes, I'm streaming on both YouTube and Twitch. I usually, like, I have a chat screen open that shows me both the chats for Twitch and YouTube. And I usually have that open up on the screen so that way my YouTube viewers can chat with my Twitch viewers. But I was just too lazy to set it up today, admittedly. Yeah, I actually need to flatten out the landscape here just a little bit. We do everything manually. Yes, we do most everything manually because there is a way to kind of automate the world building a little bit. Like you can automate like the texture generation for the landscape and things like trees and rock placement and stuff like that. But there's no way to control how it will do that necessarily. So it's easier to go in and do it by hand, and besides, if you do it by hand, you get just that much more love put into every single inch of the wasteland. As for models and stuff like that, while we do sometimes, every now and then we do port models from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4, we only do that so that way we have a placeholder until we're able to recreate the model, because you're not allowed to. It's illegal to port assets from one Bethesda game to another. So anytime you see mods or anything that do that, like say if you see a mod that ports all the armors from Oblivion to Skyrim, or you see a mod that ports anything from Skyrim into Fallout 4, that is like vanilla base game assets, that's actually illegal. And that's why mods like that are usually taken down off the Nexus. So we only do it so that way we can try to make sure that everything is one-to-one, so that way we have something there until we're able to get it remade. And currently, one of our members, Junder's Plunkett, is just plowing his way through making sure that we have unique assets that are recreations of all the original Fallout 3 assets. Not only that, but you also have to worry about things like the fact that, you know, Fallout 3 is almost 10 years old. It'll turn 10 this year. So the assets from Fallout 3 are not going to look great whenever you port them into a game that is, I want to say 7 years older or newer than it. Because it uses a completely different system for a lot of things, like rendering, new lighting, new higher resolution textures are available, you know, things like that. So you've got to be careful with that kind of thing. And for those of you who might not like this song, I actually do kind of like this song. It's not something that I generally listen to, but the soundtrack is for a fighting game, as I mentioned. So all of these songs that you're hearing are theme songs for characters. So this is a theme song for one of the female characters that's in the game. Hey, Junders, I was just talking about you, actually. Dude, I want to brag about Junders, like, all day, every day. Like, I keep saying it, the guy's goddamn crazy. He's I keep, like, in our dev chats, I keep calling him a factory, because that's what he is. Like, the other day, we were like, we need some, like, placeholder buildings for some of the what was it? Paradise Falls. In fact, I don't even think anybody actually asked for them, at least from my knowledge. And he's just like, okay. And then they were done, like within the couple days. It's like, bam, here they are. Honestly, Genders, you should really think about streaming your modeling, because, like, I would love to see how you're able to pull all that shit just, like, out of your ass, pretty much. Like, he's like Santa Claus, but like 3D modeling. Yeah, I know you do it every day. It's practice, practice, practice. As an artist, I understand that, but like, still, seeing the process is really cool for a lot of people, and I think that you would get a lot of views actually doing it. I know for sure I would definitely link to all of your streams. I still need to add Xanthier to my auto host, so that way whenever he does level design, that I can auto host him. Holy shit! The landscape fucking up like this is really getting on my nerves now. Like, I just barely click and it's like, okay, you're gonna be waiting here for a minute. It's actually really bad. Yes, Liam Neeson is the dad in Fallout 3. And it's funny because I read some interviews from him regarding doing Fallout 3, and you could almost tell that it was kind of just a paycheck to him. Like, he did a great job because, I mean, he pours himself into every role he does, but in all the interviews that I've seen with him regarding Fallout 3, it kind of seems like he doesn't understand it, and he's just like, yeah, I was there. But like, I don't think that playing Dad in Fallout 3 is going to be a role that he'll brag about, you know. Yes, Matthew Perry is Benny, and Malcolm McDowell is John Henry Eden, the greatest. Yeah, same placeholder is quicker and simpler. They're the final models, but the textures need stuff and all that. Yeah, Matthew Perry was a Fallout fan. He was excited to do it. You can tell that when in all of his voice lines. You could tell that he was happy to be there in the recording booth for that. But Malcolm McDowell is John Henry Eden. I think that's my favorite celebrity voice that's in the game. And like, I just love Malcolm McDowell's voice. I really wish that they had even more of him in the game. I mean, like, I would love to have heard more dialogue from John Henry Eden. Okay, what's going on here? I'm gonna go ahead and save. How have I been naming these? RTL. I need to hurry up. Sick. Let's see, it's 1:17 to what is? It's Wednesday. Friday's the 19th. Okay. On the streams, I only saw the creation of the Wasteland. Is somebody engaged in doing the interiors? Well, yes, actually, Coach Me. It's funny. You should mention that because I'm actually the lead interior designer myself. So I'm usually I actually usually do interiors, but we decided because we actually have so many of the interiors done currently that we should start focusing on the exterior wastelands. So that way we have more things to show off to you, pretty much. Yeah, I feel you, Genders. If you ever felt like teaching me how to do 3D modeling, since the guy who was teaching me ran off, you know, I'd be willing to help you. I just need to learn a few things, you know. Xanthier, your roads here are not that great. This is not exactly correct. I see what you did, though. I see why you did it like that. Oh, trust me, Genders, I know. Like, I've done 3D modeling. Like, I know how to make a model in 3ds Max that looks good. Like, it's not garbage at the very least, but I still need to learn how to make game ready models, you know. And I kind of need to almost relearn from scratch. But the thing is that I myself learn better by having my hand held. Like, for years I wasn't able to do anything, and whenever Nuldell was kind of teaching me how to do some stuff in Blender, and he was showing me the entire process step by step, I had a model done and textured within 2 days, even though that was something that I could not for the life of me get figured out from the very beginning by myself. And it's one of those things that's like, it's really hard to kind of explain to people. Like, I know I can look at tutorials online, but it just doesn't rub off on me the same way. But like, if I could get you to sit down with me one day, like, and show me how to do just like a basic model, you know, something small. In fact, there's one that I have in mind that I've been wanting to do. It's the coffee pot that's in, or the coffee maker that's in Fallout 3. It's something very small. It's very simple. If I could get you to sit down and teach me how to do like something small like that, if you taught me just how to do that alone, I think I'd be able to take what you teach me and apply it to everything else. But I need somebody to help me with that bit, you know. Because like having somebody there like with you who's able to be like, okay, no, you're doing this wrong, or otherwise. Oh yeah, no, I'm not expecting you to type it out or anything. Like, specifically like over voice chat and maybe a screen share or something like that, so that way I can see what needs to be done, like the exact thing that I'm wanting to do. Like that's exactly what I need, and that's what Nuldell did too. But like, man, teaching, at least in my experience from the few times that I've had to teach other people to do things, like it's one of the reasons why I'm always willing to teach people things, because of that almost like learning disability that I have, where I need to have somebody hold my hand through a process. Because I understand how that feels, I understand it whenever people need that done themselves, and I usually do my best to try to be that for them. Like, I have no problem explaining how splines work. I will go through the entire detailed process to show people how to do something if they need to. And I always, anytime that we have, because I'm the lead interior designer for the project, we do have people who apply to be level designers and everything, regardless of whether it's exterior or interior. I always assign them a small interior, and I tell them everything that they need to do in order for it to work for the project, and that if they need help with anything, to message me. Like if they're confused on like what tile set to use, if they want to know how to make an effect work right or anything like that, I'm like, yes, just message me and I'm your man, you know. But yeah, like as far as like programs and everything and software, I do have pretty much everything I need. I've got like 4 different versions of 3ds Max. I've got, you know, of course, you know, I've got Substance Painter. I've got an if scope, even though I hate that program with a passion. There's just some like official tools that I need, like, but yeah, like aside from that though, but yeah, and no, I do listen. I absolutely listen. I mean, the one model that I produced, I think is testament to that. Wait, give me just 1 second. I need to go check something real quick. But besides that, though, like I'm not wanting to do like advanced modeling or anything like that. You know, I'm not gonna do weapons. I'm not gonna do like major architecture from scratch. Like I can definitely help brush up. Like I can help brush up like models that are already made, or I would like to. I'm not gonna do guns or armor, but I want to be able to do like minor things, like a lot of the generic clutter that Fallout 3 has that Fallout 4 doesn't, like the coffee maker, and some of the other stuff that like Nullbell was doing, like the plastic bins. And just, yeah, small stuff like that. Maybe some furniture and stuff like that. At one point, I was modeling the L-shaped metal desk that's in Fallout 3. It's like my favorite desk of all. Like I was really hoping that it would be in Fallout 4 because I wanted that in my home, just like it's in the Megaton home. And I was really disappointed to see that it was in fact gone, unfortunately. What can you do? I think what's going on with this really weird like adaptation whenever I look at the sky and everything is because either the water or weather, because this is something that's currently going on in game as well with the current weather, where the blacks end up getting blown out and it looks fucking ugly. Which the weathers are in there, like they're in an experimental phase, so that's not something that'll be in the end. So don't worry about that. But it's either that or it might be my ENB, because I've had that happen before, where an ENB I was using was actually being affected, or it was affecting everything that I was doing in the creation kit. No, that's not the case anymore, because I don't think the CK runs directly out of the Fallout. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and try to be a smart guy and fail at it. I don't know how to switch weathers, and like purposely anyway in the creation kit. I only know how to change the time of day slider and hope that the weather ends up changing. That's a little bit better. Yeah, it doesn't happen anymore. Oh, you can just... Okay, that's cool. I didn't know you could do that. Like, I just never tried. Are you having this issue, though, Nahito, where every time you try to, like, mess with the landscape at all, like, once you're done clicking, it just becomes unresponsive? Because I don't know what's going on with that. And it's becoming very, very frustrating. I might have to, like, reinstall the creation kit or something. Auto solo disabled. Seems to be fine. I'm gonna try to uncheck it and see if I get the opposite effect or something. Okay, so interestingly enough, whenever I have it unclicked, it doesn't do that. This is way better. Holy shit. Interesting. Interesting. Anyone excited for the Dark Souls remaster on Twitch? I am. I mean, kind of. I don't have a Switch. I mean, I would just play Dark Souls on PC anyway. But I think it's an interesting choice, and I'd like to see where Bethesda, or not Bethesda, but like where FromSoft and Nintendo goes with like that kind of like partnership. because it's such an an interesting and strange choice for a Switch game. But I mean, overall, I'm not really excited for it just because I won't be able to play it anyway. I don't think I'm ever going to own a Switch, at least not until, you know, it ends up being like not until like the next generation. Because like I still don't even own an Xbox One, or a PS4. Me and my girlfriend go to our friend's house to play theirs because we can't afford a current console. And the last console that I had, my 360, I had to sell that so that way we could afford to pay bills. When are you going to remake Paradise Falls? I'm working my way towards it as fast as I can. I'm like right now, I'm working my way north of Meresti. If you look at a Fallout 3 map, and I'm wanting to get. Let's see if I can. How far is it? It shouldn't be that far. I'm working my way up north so that way I can work on. Yeah, it's right up here. Fuck, what is this place called? I forgot. I'm an idiot. The Germantown Police Headquarters. Yeah, I'm working my way north to work on the Germantown Police Headquarters, and then I'm going to kind of extend my way out to Paradise Falls. And then I'm going to start filling in, like, because that'll make like an L shape in my claim. And I'm going to slowly fill in everything that's in that L, pretty much. So that way I've got like just a big block of finished stuff. And hey, Jackalope 510, I am working. If you check out the channel, you can find a new trailer that we created for this project that I'm working on, where I'm helping recreate Fallout 3 in Fallout 4's engine. How completed is this mod? The trailers really show it's pretty advanced already. Well, that is also because we purposely showed areas that we do have done in the trailer, admittedly. I mean, that's kind of like, that's obvious. But I would place... We can't really... It's impossible with a project like this to say how much we have done for the entire thing, like how close the whole thing is to completion and be ready to ship. The exterior world space, I would have to say that I want to say that we're maybe 25%. We're a little bit less than like we're around like 15 to 20% done with the wasteland. I'm kind of bad with fractions and percentages. We're definitely over 5%, but that's just the exterior wasteland itself. For the interiors, we are at about a third of the interiors done. Well, I say done, but we're always going to have to be going back and rechecking them and making sure that they're up to date with new assets and everything like that. We've got at least a third of the interiors implemented, at least. And as for the scripting, we're still working on... There's like 2 or 3 quests that we're working on right now, including, of course, the main quest. So that's going to be what takes the longest for the project, is the scripting and the coding necessary to bring the quests back from Fallout 3. You're wanting to remake all the building kits? See, okay, that's actually something that I would really like to do, is if I learned 3D modeling, I would love to make some of the interior kits. Because there are certain... Because I have the same issue that you have with skulls, but with the interiors. Like, I don't like the fact that there are some interiors that are made using... Where, like, one wall is made up of 3 pieces instead of 1 piece. I don't like that. Yeah, a lot of the interiors should be really easy, but I think it would also actually help a lot with the scaling, because that's something that has been an issue, at the very least for me. Maybe not so much for Nihito and Xanthier for the interiors that they did. Um, but there were that's one of the reasons why I stopped working on the Hubris comics, because I kept getting annoyed that this one location with it, where it's like it almost looks like a hashtag if you look at it from above, because there's like four pillars in the middle, and each of them has like a hallway that kind of splits off. It was pissing me off that I couldn't get it looking exactly right, because the hallways that were in Fallout 4 or Fallout 3 are wider than the ones that you can make accurately in Fallout 4. That being said, just being able to have like a half wall would solve a lot of the sizing issues that are in Fallout 4, actually. But if there was a half wall that still fits into the kit pieces, like for everything, it would be perfect. But if you make a half wall, you also kind of need to make a half floor and a half ceiling to make sure that it all kind of fits in and everything. Yeah. Hello, my name is Jeff. Though there are some, again, like I said, there are some places where it's like we use three pieces for a wall to make what is one wall in Fallout 3. But whenever you multiply that for every section, and I could illustrate this real quick if I pulled up one of the interiors, but it doesn't work correctly, and it's something that can end up throwing off a lot of interior designers. And Naf, you know, he's like, "Oh, I can make it perfectly fine," but like it's something that turns me off of level designing, and it's like my favorite. It's my thing. But they're basically kit bashing an entire kit because of how different the kits look between the two. I think that there is a kit in Fallout 4 that would look perfect for a Fallout 3 equivalent, but it needs a major retexture, and it's something that I can't do. I might talk to you about that later if you'd be willing, because if it's a retexture, all you need to do is edit one texture, and you'd be done. Is Vault 108 done? Yes, it is, and it's also implemented now. I managed to find it. I remember a stream I did before. I was wanting to show off Vault 108, and it was gone. Like, I just couldn't find it on my computer, but we managed to find the last version of it that I worked on, and it's now implemented. So I can actually show that off now. And I might do that here in just a minute. I have a zit on the back of my ear, and it's really pissing me off. I know you guys wanted to know that, so that's why I told you. See, I gotta deal with this jagged-ass landscape. See, like, you can see it especially whenever you're looking at the borders of, like, the border lines of the cell. You can see how there's a lot of areas that are just super, super jagged, and that it looks like that in game too, and it does not work out very well. So all the cells that I do my best to try to go through and flatten out a lot of those jagged edges, but it's hard because you don't really see landscape shadows very well in the creation kit. It's really hard to see where exactly all of those might be. Oh no, Junders, I am absolutely, like, I was on your side from the beginning. Like, the skulls are great as blocking out and using them as placeholders, and they're good for screenshots even. But when you look at them, especially because I was the one doing the trailer, when you see those in game, and you're actually playing through and you're seeing all the Z fighting and everything, it's bad. It's really bad. I bet if you looked hard enough at my trailer, you would probably be able to find a couple spots where there is Z fighting. I did my best to keep those areas out, but I don't think that worked out as well as I would have hoped overall. Yeah, no, yeah, like all the Z fighting and everything is very unprofessional. I agree. I definitely think that we want to work on releasing a polished product, or at least as close as possible. Like, it doesn't matter what we do, we're always going to get complaints from people, but that doesn't mean that you should be discouraged from doing the best that you can with the resources that you have. And if you can do better, then why not do better? And I definitely understand your... I definitely understand your... where you were coming from when you were saying that regarding the map icons. But the map icons, I feel, because they're a UI element, don't necessarily matter quite as much as the general world space. People don't pay as much attention to the icons in UI. But even then, a lot of the ones in Fallout 4 serve a great purpose. They look perfectly fine, and there's no reason to replace them if there's no point in it. Don't worry, Vic. We might be able to do some basic nav meshing. I'm not touching nav meshing for the exterior world space. That's not my job. It never will be. I'll do nav meshing for interiors all day, but not exteriors. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about autogen for exterior world spaces. Like, I can see how it would be helpful for exterior world spaces, but I've always taught and learned that doing autogen is bad. Because you end up spending more time fixing the autogen's mistakes than you would if you just did it yourself. And that's my experience in it too. And also, hi, Caspian. I saw you come in. I saw your hello message and everything. I didn't mean to ignore you. I meant to say hi. What's up, man? Oh yeah, no, I am. That's one of the things that I'm really excited about with this project is I can't wait to see what people are gonna do with it once we're done. Like, I mean, shit, I'm already working on stuff for this, so that way I have something that I can release alongside it once it's done. Yeah, I don't think this hill is Hold on. Yeah, this hill is nowhere near as exaggerated in Fallout 3 as it is in this with this height map, so I can actually smooth this down quite a bit. I don't want to do it too much, that way it loses its shape, but what we got here was pointless, pretty much. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. Dude, if you wanted to make the Enclave a joinable faction, I would join you in that. Like, I would love to help you do that. It would be really fucking cool to do. Well, Nahito, if it's any consolation, even though I might not be willing to help you out with that, because that sounds like way too much fucking work, I do have the habit of making interiors and doing nothing with them, so if so I could probably, like, throw you some of my empty, pointless interiors that I've done for you to implement into that. Dude, you wouldn't even have to pay voice actors. Like, I can be a voice actor. I have voice acting experience. With my series, I know tons of people actually who have voice acting experience. Some of them are actually professional voice actors. Will Talon Company get power armor skins? Yes and no. I'm working on a mod that will give them power armor skins, but it's not going to be included in the mod because in Fallout 3 they don't have power armor, so there's no point in giving them skins for them. Good morning, America. This is your president, John Henry Eden, speaking. That was bad. I can usually do better. Wait, what's a John Henry Eden quote? Hold on. But for now, my Americans, we must part. Restoring the greatest country in the world to its former glory. Well. Well, that takes time. Even for the Enclave. Welcome back, NCR. I'm gone. All I wanna do is speed up till I find you. My fellow Americans. Voice line splicing, fuck that. Fuck that. That's dumb. If you wanted to make, like, robots using characters, that's voice line splicing is alright, but otherwise, like, voice line splicing almost never sounds good. And it's, like, at the very least, it's almost never worth, like, the effort. Like, you can make it sound natural to a degree, but it's it takes a lot of time, even for the Enclave. Whatever you do, just don't get the guy who voiced Autumn for for Shoddy Cast. 'Cause the guy's a cool, like the guy they got. He's a cool dude, from what I understand. But like, it's not a great voice actor, and I should know because I'm the one who filmed that episode that had him in it. My favorite soundtrack is the Super Mario 64 soundtrack. And Super Mario Sunshine. I fucking love the Super Mario Sunshine soundtrack. See, I'm gonna go ahead and start placing down roads. Like, I want to make the roads that lead up to... I'm already almost there at I've already almost got the road set up all the way to Germantown HQ. Hey Ashley. I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. How about yourself? Oh yeah, I worked with Shoddy Cast a good bit. I got Josh on speed dial, yo. Not really. But, I mean, I do have his email, like his personal email. So there's that. Good morning, Augustus Autumn. It's another fine day in this fine country. What the fuck is local space? It kind of sounds like that's like a, I don't know, like a layout for the windows or something. What is local space? Press G. Hold on, let me save before I do that. G. Oh no, I don't use that. I sometimes use it. I switch off and on from it. I prefer knowing exactly where the axis is, because I have no problem rotating on that, and I've got a lot of experience in using the basic rotation. But yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it allows you to move it along like its local axis. Like, it allows you to rotate the axis more or less, but it's still weird to me. No, yeah, even for rotating, I'm better at rotating it like that way. I usually use the local whenever I'm placing like minor objects, so that way I can make sure that they're still lined up with whatever I have, whatever surface that I have like the thing placed on. And no, the chat does not show right now. I didn't. As you can see, I kind of have a new setup actually, like a new overlay. In fact, I'm really proud of it too. I have a new starting overlay. I have a new intermission overlay. So this is my BRB screen and everything, and it still shows all of the fun alerts and everything. Why did that break? Okay, there it goes. But yeah. Yes, I am a monster. Like that one song. I can't remember. Oh, hey, I missed some messages. Sorry about that. If you're still here, Austin Lawson, thank you very much. I spent a good bit of time on that trailer, so I'm glad you liked it. Dorkborn, I'm glad that your respect increased by 100. Caspian, I also played a very a stupid amount of time playing Super Mario 64. It took me way longer to complete it than it should have, mainly because there was 2 levels that I was actually afraid of as a kid. I'll go more into that later on. Let's see. Oh, thank you, Ashley. I don't have my sounds from my notifications set up, but thank you very much. And yeah, I've got them separate just because, you know, sometimes I don't feel like eating, you know, steak while I'm doing my business. There's sometimes though, like that's generally how I prefer spending my man time. But you know, every now and then, you know, I gotta separate them and everything like that. I gotta eat with the girlfriend, you know, sometimes. So still got that to worry about. I love how edgy this fucking music is. Jesus Christ, is there really like this much of a fucking canyon over here? Like, Jesus Christ, is that a thing? Yeah, it is. Huh. Yeah, we're making pretty good progress. We're doing really well so far. And honestly, I'm kind of thinking that I might try to stream more often than usual, just because I want to. I looked at the how far a lot of the other exterior people are doing on their claims, like their world space claims, and I'm kind of jealous about how much fucking surface area they've covered. So I feel like I need to catch up, so I might be streaming a bit more over the next few days, so that way I can kind of catch up with them. Who will be out first, Cascadia or Fallout 3 and Fallout 4? To be entirely honest, I'm guessing... I'm going to say that Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 will come out first, but that's mainly because, first off, this isn't a competition. But we're remaking a game. Like, this is... Nothing about this necessarily is, like, ours. Like, this is all stuff that's been done. We know exactly what to create and where to create it already. Whereas Cascadia is like they're making something new, you know. So they've got way more planning that kind of goes into it than we do. It's kind of like trying to compare like boxing to wrestling. It's just not the same thing, you know. Yeah, that's how it is. Like Dev Ashley here is actually one of the developers on Cascadia, uh, and yeah, she nailed it. They are making a game. Like it's not official. It's not AAA, though the quality would have you believe otherwise. But they are essentially making an entirely brand new game. Wait, a vertibird settlement? I need to see that. You got to show me screenshots of that. There's still a lot of Cascadia that I haven't seen. I've pretty much only seen the areas that Flynn works on, so I've seen a lot of that one island. Because holy shit, it seemed like he worked on that for like years. Oh yeah, no, I didn't think that's what you were intentionally insinuating. I know that's not what you were trying to do. I was just wanting to make it clear that like, you know, we're not trying to get done faster than the other. Yeah, Mercer Island. I think I seen Flynn working on that for God. Oh my God, like so long. But that's also because that like I sat there and watched them work on that during the charity stream that they did, since I helped out with that a little bit. Uh, and that's like all they were working on during the charity stream for the most part. What other chat am I reading? I'm oh sorry, there's a gentleman named Nikon in the YouTube chat who's asking these questions. I usually have my chat on screen. Like I could, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and try to see if I can get that set back up. Actually, on screen, I'm gonna try to get the chat set back up. Um, oh no, that's not what it's supposed to look like. I don't think the chat's working. Why isn't it working? Oh, wait. That's... Okay. I used the wrong thing. Oh, that doesn't look good. Alright, I'm gonna need a second to get this kind of set up. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and place the chat up here for now, though I usually have it in a better spot, but there. So now my YouTube viewers can see what my Twitch viewers are saying, and my Twitch viewers can see what the YouTubers are saying. I think I just repeated myself, but whatever, you get the point. Okay, what are you doing here? Why aren't you working? Okay, well I can't edit over here, so I guess I'm just not gonna worry about what's over there right now. So let's see what we got. So this goes across this cell, and yeah, okay, so that should cut through the road a little bit. And the next road that is perfectly flat pretty much lines up directly with the border for this next cell. No, it's actually pretty accurate. I made sure to take a look at it just now to make sure I'm not fucking crazy. And it lines up pretty well. It's just a little bit more jagged, which is part of what's giving it that steep look. But I'll definitely be smoothing it out and changing it a good bit once I get over there. But I'm actually more worried about working my way north, which is in this direction, because right in this cell right here actually is the Germantown police headquarters, because I've been wanting to work on like a major location, because I haven't been able to do that really since Big Town, or maybe Moresty. I don't really count Moresty because it's very empty overall, but yeah, I've been wanting to work on a major location, kind of like Big Town, for a while. Yeah, yeah. A lot of it's like kind of hit or miss, and our level designers are, yeah. I don't know what's going on here. I think I have to turn on that fucking option that I turned off earlier. I should probably save before I do that in case of crashing. We have a theory for what that is, Ethereal. And the thing is that Bethesda games, the Gamebryo engine in general, does this thing with world spaces where if you have a copy of a reference that occupies the exact same space as another reference, like the exact same coordinates and size and everything, it counts it as a duplicate and it teleports it to 0, 0. And 0, 0 happens to be directly above Big Town in our version. Whereas I think 0, 0 in the original game is technically above Megaton. And so anytime we have a duplicate that is in the same spot, it might teleport above Big Town. It's something that can definitely be fixed. But we'll see that happen a lot. We just have to double check there every single time we have like a new merge and everything like that, and whenever we get closer to release, we have to make sure that we check that area so that way we can get it fixed. Yeah, there we go. Now I can smooth that out. But to be entirely honest, as long as I can make sure it fits, I'm fine in general with the steep hills and everything, because it adds like a layer of verticality to the wasteland that wasn't there in the original game. And verticality is something that a lot of people, or Bethesda in general, didn't really worry about very much. There are some locations that have some vertical gameplay and level design, but it's very few and far between in a lot of Bethesda games, and especially Fallout 3. It's a little bit more present in the downtown Boston area in Fallout 4, but not so much in Fallout 3. And there's very little that we can do to really kind of like merge those two like ideas together, having the vertical campaigns and stuff. Do you want some extra effects for OBS? Stuff like blur, color correction, MIP mapping. MIP mapping? For OBS? What is this? How did that work for OBS? I'm not really a broadcast guy necessarily. Like, I do all of my video editing pretty much, you know, for the sake of like an end product. So whenever it comes to streaming, I'm still very, very much a noob. And I can do the basic stuff. There's some fancy things that I can do, but overall, I wouldn't really know how to take advantage of stuff like that. Like the other day, I was trying to figure out, because I've been listening to this music on my stream more often. I was looking for a plugin that would allow me to show off what music I'm listening to, like how Fled does. But I couldn't quite find a plugin that would work out well, since I usually listen to what is essentially one soundtrack and one video on YouTube. So I don't think that it would be able to tell what song I'm listening to very well. If I had more soundtracks locally on my PC, I would do that, but I don't have very much, so I rely on YouTube for my my entertainment. Well, speaking of which, I guess that was the last song in the playlist. Yeah, see, I don't know how to do. I've never messed with Spotify before, so I would have to check that out before I tried even using it. And yeah, sure, I would be able to use something like that, Ethereal, but like I said, at the same time, the soundtracks I listen to, like this one, for example, it was the entire soundtrack in one video, so it wouldn't know when the song switches, for example, and it wouldn't be able to display the song name and the artist correctly. Anyway, let's see, what am I gonna listen to next? Yeah, Metal Gear Rising. Yeah, go ahead and DM it to me. I can't promise that I'll use it just because I'm dumb and might not have the intelligence to make full use of it, but I'll definitely at least check it out. For show. What do you do with the blurring filter exactly? Like, I wouldn't even know how to do, like, what I would use that for. Like, I would imagine I could learn how to use it, I just wouldn't know what to use it for. It'd be cool if I could use it to blur out my background, because I have some risque wallpapers that kind of show up on stream sometimes. I'm too lazy to do that though. If I change my background before I stream, I will forget and never change it again. You know what? I know what I need to do here. I mean, that is actually not a bad idea. I'll be entirely honest. I could definitely like change my background to like something Commonwealth or Fallout related, which I do have some Fallout related wallpapers already in the queue because I just have one big wallpaper folder that like it cycles through. Because I have a short attention span, and I'm also lazy and will never change my wallpaper, as I mentioned, so I just have it set to where I have tons of wallpapers that I like that cycle through endlessly. Yeah, I see. I've got a bunch of risque anime wallpapers, but that's also because like I draw risque stuff. Like I've been very open about that on my streams. If you ever check my Instagram, you'll see some of my risque artwork. Though most of my Instagram stuff is not anime. But yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely smut. I'm unabashed. I do commissions, and I do them cheap for friends. So yeah. Dude, I've been wanting to stream on Picarto, but the thing is that I haven't done digital art in so long. Like I was doing digital art the other day. I was drawing some. I was drawing a Monster Musume character, my favorite Monster Musume character, that is. And I just fucking hated how it turned out, so I just like fucking threw my my graphics tablet across the room. I didn't actually do that. I felt like I could have, but I didn't. I tend to do more traditional media. That's what you'll mostly see on my Instagram or sketchbook stuff that I've done, as opposed to digital. Though I do have one or two digital way back when, and I do digital art for the project at least too. Like I do texture work and a small amount of graphic design. I would love to, but the thing is that I would feel very inferior. Like every time Flynn sends me some concept art for Cascadia, I'm like, holy shit. I wish I could do that kind of digital painting and stuff like that. The stuff I do is very almost vector related, because I usually do like anime and comics and stuff like that, so it's all very bright, solid colors and stuff like that. I can't do digital painting very well, anyway. Pinups, that's something I can do. I can absolutely do pinups. That's right up my alley. Like, oh my god, me and my girlfriend are fucking in love with, like, the Nuka World girl. Or, like, just the Nuka girl mascot. Like, we love that design, that character so much. Dude, I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it on stream, too. Like, pinups, that's something that I can do even on Twitch. As long as they're not, you know, as long as they don't show boobies. Boobinos. And I actually think with the software I use to stream to YouTube and Twitch, I would actually be able to stream to Picarto as well. So that would be an interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm definitely gonna try that. Yeah, at some point. And see, I was actually wanting to do some pinups for Power Armor. Because, you know, especially because, like, the shark paint and the, like, all of the paint jobs that are in vanilla that are for Power Armor are based on, like, military, like, aircraft paint jobs or car paint jobs and stuff like that. So, like, I feel like a pinup that's, like, just on the chest of, like, the T60 or the T45 or the T50, T51 would be really, really interesting. Maybe I'll do that later today. I know my girlfriend would be really into it because she hates the fact that I barely do digital art anymore. She's constantly trying to get me to get back into it, but I'm always like, yeah. Okay, maybe I should actually get an oval set up for these road chunks. Wait, no, they're just right here. In fact, doesn't Twitch allow for nudity when it comes to art anyway? Because it's art, like it's not. And I already have my my stream set up to be mature. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to check the rules in TOS on that. Because if that's the case, then I can also do my warm-up on stream too. That sounds bad. I mean artwork warm-up specifically. I use a program called Quick Poses for timed practice, so that way my gesture work is a little bit more on point, and I'm a little bit more loosey-goosey. Oh, do you have to pay for streaming on Facebook? Because that sucks. That would actually be really fucking helpful for driving up some interest in our Facebook page, which we've actually been doing pretty good thanks to Fallout New Vegas and their shout out, as well as the trailer, which last I checked was like at 51K. And I'm a little bit jealous about that actually, even though it is up on my personal channel. Like my YouTube that I do all my like machinima on and everything, but that video got 51K views in 2 days, whereas my the most popular episode of Brotherhood Redacted was uploaded nearly 2 years ago, maybe over 2 years ago at this point, and it has 30K views I think at this point, and that's over 2 years. And then a fucking joke video I made has like 10K views or something like that. Alright, motherfuckers. Let's get to work on this this place here, which we actually... I should technically probably maybe wait for some assets from you Cascadia bros to do this, because we need those tents. But at the same time, I'm also really lazy and want to go ahead and work on it. I like how this entire cell though is Like, this entire location fits almost perfectly in one cell. That's actually really, really cool. Yeah, no, I definitely feel the same, Malaru. There was a little bit of animosity going on originally between some of the team members and everything, and I hated it. Do you remember how the industrial building kit was called? I don't. I do not know at all, actually, because I've never had to use those myself. I'm afraid. I did an interior that would technically use the interior factory set, but I built that from scratch, and I don't think it's going to be the same as the interior factory that other people are going to build either. But yeah. Man, the fences and these are like tall fences, aren't they? Yeah, these fences are fucking huge. The only thing that I could say is to try to find it. There should be I'm pretty sure he did do the exterior of the Rothko factory, or I think he did a factory. I just don't know what it would be called off the top of my head. Also, goddamn, like the fences in Fallout 3 are way taller. So that might be something that we could use at some point, is like tall fences. Maybe I should start by doing the building. Hey, Nahito. The building that's used here in Fallout 3, do we have skulls for that? I want to say that you and Xanthier just made the skulls for this, because it's just the burned out buildings. Facade? That's the wrong one. There we go. Okay, yeah. Let me go ahead and save just in case, because I have a bad experience with things constantly wanting to crash on me. See how far... Oh yeah, this actually does have a burned out back part of it. I thought it just had like an... Okay, yeah, it does have an actual interior to it. So it's two corners, and it goes across like that. Alright. Oh, right. Yeah, I think the metal bits are alright. It gives it like a really cool silhouette from a distance, I think. Like, I see what you're saying. And this looks like it's supposed to be 2 spaces long, pretty much. There's going to be some overlap here, but we can't really do anything about that. And then take this corner, turn it around. What is an end cap? Okay. Does it? I'll be sure to do that then. Thanks for the heads up. Because it looks like I will have to customize this skull up a bit, but since the base work is there, I have no problem doing that. The corners don't quite work very well together, but that's also something that I can deal with without too much of an issue. I do kind of feel like these destroyed buildings are alright being skulls. Because generally the way they're used, they're kind of like, they're very spread out. And they're not used very often in general. Like you don't find a whole lot of them together or anything like that. They're almost... I wouldn't necessarily call them hero pieces or anything like that, but they're... I think these are fine. But yeah, they've got like a really nice silhouette to them that I like. Yeah, this is Xanthier's work. One of our other exterior, or one of our other level designers, I should say. It's mainly just the engine differences that make it look a little bit different, and you also have to remember that these are not the same assets either. So like what you're looking at here in the Fallout 4 CK is made up entirely of Fallout 4 assets. So they are not the same thing at all. They're pretty damn close amalgamations though. I need to go ahead and like kind of block out these roads a little bit too. So that way I stay within the boundaries of them. Yeah, the window size difference does help out a lot too. Like if I were to, this will break the illusion a little bit, but if I like expand out the window and everything, it does kind of change the view and how large things tend to appear. And the same thing goes for the Fallout 4 window as well. Alright, so I'm not going to worry about like putting these roads actually on the ground or anything. I just need them to be in place for me to do the rest of this. Looks like I need to flatten out this a little bit more too, unless there actually is kind of a... No, the area behind here is... Well... It's definitely flatter than this, and another one of the reasons why this is kind of a pain in the ass is that Bethesda used a landscape to make a lot of rubble. So they would just like pull up the ground and then paint it with a rubble texture in order to make rubble piles. Whereas Fallout 4 has more, but they have more rubble piles in general, so it's a little bit easier to deal with that kind of thing. So I can actually flatten that out quite a bit in this area. What location is this? This is the Germantown Police Headquarters, which, for those of you who know Fallout, know that this is a very formidable location early on in the game because it's just full of super mutants. Like, this place would get the Master's dick hard, man. Yeah, I told you, Zan. I told you, Junders. I'm wanting to. Once I'm done with this location, I'm gonna work my way to Paradise Falls. Because I am really excited to be working on that place. And the funny thing is that, like, with how Paradise Falls is handled, with it being its own separate world space, I'm actually going to have to detail it a lot more in this version than the exterior is detailed in the original version, because I have to make sure that if there are any holes or anything that you can see through, that it looks relatively normal, you know, even though you... And I also have to make sure that you can't jump into it, which I want to do that without having to... like, I'll probably still make use of collision boxes to make sure that players can't just jump over, but I want to try to make it to where you just can't, like, physically find a way to jump over. Though I'm sure people will just use a fucking jetpack on a power armor that they've spawned in and everything. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick break. And I get to use my new intermission screen because I have to use the level designer's room. So, be back in a minute. I have returned, and it sounds like my music stopped. I managed to leave right when my, right when the play... Nope, it's still on, actually. Never mind. Okay. Thank you, Caspian. Hey, Void. But yeah, question that I missed whenever, because I saw it like right as I was getting up to pee. Armors that we have finished are, like, I don't even know off the top of my head, to be entirely honest. We've got our own combat armor that we're working on that's separate from Castelli's. I believe we've got the Raider Iconoclast armor from the pit done. We've, of course, got the XO2 and XO3 what are they called? Hellfire armors. We've Dogtooth, last I checked, was still working on the Raider Blastmaster armor. Oaken is working on the Mercenary Charmer armor. We've got, I think Gamer did the metal armor, like the spiky metal armor that has the spike shoulders and everything like that. And Cypher is working on our combat armor. So we're wanting to make sure that practically every single outfit from the main game is present in our recreation. Is the music too loud, by the way, or is it like just right? I struggle with it, but still. It might just be too loud in my ears. Okay, cool. Are my new graffitis merged? They should be. Let me double check real quick, because if they're merged, if they are correctly merged right now, I actually have an interior, if you guys didn't already know, called C.A. Michael's Graffiti Showcase. So if I have any graffitis put in the game, you can just go here and check around. So yes, currently the newer graffitis that I created are in the game. And I can actually go ahead and show off all of the graffitis that we have done for everybody who's here on stream. All of the graffitis here that are present in this cell were created by me. God damn it, I have to go again because well, maybe I've got a cigarette over here that I haven't smoked all the way through. I do. No, I don't. No, whatever. Me and Unoctium were actually joking about that, Nihito, because of that super mutant that I retextured. But anyway, so all of the graffiti that's in this cell specifically were created by me, though Nihito has actually volunteered to at least try to do some graffitis himself. So I can't wait to see what those are going to look like. I might have to rename my cell if he wants to put them in here. I have no problem with that. But we've got some cut graffiti. That's a lot of what I worked on. These were actually in the design documents for Fallout 3, and there's actually in the files still, but they're just unused. We got cannibalism for healthy teeth and gums, which I removed some of the like drips from it and made it look more like a stencil myself, because I kind of like the look of that. We have an entirely custom design that I created. The only good bucket is a dead bucket. That's not in the base game. It's not cut content. It's something that I created to kind of give a little bit more variation to the Raiders and everything. We got the family's bloodstain that you can find in Arafu, which I created a while back for our Arafu interiors, and it's even got like the correct like. I'm actually really proud of having been able to do that, 'cause from a distance it just looks like it's red, like a single color, but once you get up close it still kind of looks like it's the same color, but it shines, you know. Hey Lapis, welcome to the stream. This is more cut graffiti. Mama tried. It's not meant to be that big naturally, but I wanted it to fill the frame. This is also cut graffiti. A woman in a bikini or underwear with a middle finger for the head, which I have dubbed Motherfucker. and that's what it's called in our game files. More cut graffiti is like this skull that has like I want to say 556 ammunition as like a kind of like crossbones look. I don't know anything about weapons though, so I'm probably wrong. We got the Megaton Armory arrow, the sign for the Church of the Children of Adam. I don't know where this is, but I saw it in game and figured, you know, whatever, I can go ahead and get it out of the way, and I did. Here's a couple different things that we have here. Welcome to Great Itch for a Great Itch naturally. Captain Paglia Dockside Bar and Grill for one of the shacks that's off by the river. Same thing with Pirate Pellies, Boats and Baits, Rittles, Worms, Ice Cream, Talking Parrots. I don't have anything on that wall, but I do on this one. We've got the Megaton arrow, which you can see used on Megaton itself, as well as in Springvale. You can see it on like a bent sign in Springvale. We've got the Color Vomit, which I don't understand why Bethesda thought that looked good. But, I mean, they did, so we have it. It's here. It's in-game. We got the Crater Side Supply, which, you know, everybody knows what that is. Actually, not all of my graffiti is here, for some reason. I thought I had put it all in here, but, we got, like, this target. I'm gonna go ahead and move that, and I'm gonna go fucking find the rest of my graffiti. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna do that right now. But since we're looking through interiors, those of you who are watching might be interested in seeing Vault 108. I know, right? Like, what raider like wanted to pick up a spray can and was just like, psst, that's it. That's what he did. Like, that does. Like, even if you're not an artistic person, you would want to make something, right? Like, at least draw a circle with 2 or 3 circles inside and, like, jagged teeth to make a skull or something like that. Okay, yeah, I could see a raider doing that if he was high as shit. That makes sense, actually. That I think you just cracked open some deep lore. But anyway, so for those of you in the stream who are just joining us or joining the stream for the very first time, here's a little treat for you. I don't want to show off too much of it, so I'm just going to show off the entrance area. I want to keep the rest of it kind of a secret for our next monthly update. But this is Vault 108, which is very, very noteworthy for being the home of, I want to say, 13 different Garys. So here we have the entrance to it in the cave, which I kind of made it look a little bit better than it did in the original. I actually did some special effects. You can't really see them here right now, but I've got like dripping water and everything. I went a little bit out of my way with it. And if we turn around and we travel, oh yeah, there's the dripping water. If we turn around and go down here, we have the entrance to Vault 108. With a dead Gary, which I don't even know. He's actually wearing the Vault 111 jumpsuit, but whatever. So here's the entrance. I wanted to make it look as fucking creepy as possible. Turn effects on? Okay. It didn't really do much for it, but... but at least now you can see the water dripping, I think. Yeah, there it goes. And so one of the things that we did, and one of the things that we try to work on is trying to blend together the aesthetic between Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. So in certain vaults, you'll find that the entrance looks exactly like the entrance to the vaults in Fallout 3, where it's just a single room. There's no under area to it or anything like that. It's not quite as big as the originals were. But I wanted to go ahead and use the Fallout 4 entrance to make it look a little bit more atmospheric. And since Vault 108 I forgot where it is, but I wanted to make it look like it was leaking, and if something's been leaking for 200 years, naturally it's going to fill up to an extent. So I've actually added like a little bit of a lake almost to this entrance area and made it to where you have to walk across some planks to get in, which I like to think was probably placed there by some people who are trying to get in tap plant. You're confusing me there, NCR, because those are just basic roots. Roots can grow anywhere. If there's trees above it, then roots can grow down into it. So that's fine. And not to mention the DC is on the East Coast, just like Boston is. So any plants that can really grow in Boston can also grow in DC. But anyway, yeah, I like to think that this little area was kind of created by the fact that there is a raider body here in the entrance over here, and he is there in the original too. So these are planks that he set up so that way he could step across and maybe make it easier for his friends to cross once he goes back and it's like, hey, this vault's empty, we can go and raid it. But yeah, let's turn around here and see what we've got. This is actually another custom graffiti, technically, custom decal that I did. So we've actually got the text that says Vault 108 on it, which I went ahead and made a projected decal as opposed to the original Vault 108 or Vault signs that are in vaults. They're actually a decal plastered onto the mesh itself. Which that was, I don't want to deal with trying to figure out how to do that, so I went ahead and just made it a projected decal. And if for any reason I ever wanted to put it somewhere else, I could, though I don't think I will. Because there's no reason to. One thing that I actually forgot to do, and I'll need to go back and do here relatively soon, is I need to go and place light sources, because I have the lights set up, but I don't. Only this first area has light sources. So that's something I'll need to fix. But moving on, this area I'm actually really proud of. You can't see it, unfortunately, even with the effects turned on. But these generators actually do shoot off electricity, because the opening area of Vault 108 only has a couple of mole rats as a hostile factor. So if you remember going through Vault 111, when you're going through the opening sequence of Fallout 4, the generators in that actually shoot out electricity that can hurt you. So I've actually got electricity that shoots off this like in all directions from these two generators here to give a little bit more danger to the area, and I think it actually makes it look a lot creepier. It almost makes it look like this is like the lair of a mad scientist with the electrical arcs going off in different directions. But it doesn't hurt you very much, so it's a very minor thing to add in. You just need to try to run through the room if you can, or duck behind something so that way the electrical arcs can't touch you. Well, planks are easily obtainable. There are tons of like shelled out wooden buildings throughout DC. So like it doesn't have to do with chopping trees. Like they could just go to like one of the burned out buildings and be like, huh, this is useful. I mean, not to mention there's stores where you can buy lumber. There's I mean, of course, there are trees they could potentially chop down and turn into it, but otherwise, like, it's just found stuff, like junkyards and things like that. There are plenty of places where you can get wooden planks. And don't worry. We do worry about trying to make sure that if we do change anything, we want to make sure that it looks and makes sense. No, he understands Reactus. It's all good. And don't forget that he can read what you say. And I don't want any arguments to go on. But yeah, there are a lot of tires in DC. So moving on even further, which let me go ahead and turn on the lights so that way you can actually see what's down here. I would also like to point out that in the vaults, because I did have a discussion with somebody, I think, whenever I was originally making this vault, is like, why are there so many wooden planks in the vault itself, and I don't know the answer to that. But Bethesda thought they should be there, so I made sure to include them there as well. There's also a Brahmin skull there in the original too. Um, so that's one of the weird things that kind of show up. And Lapis, this is Vault 108. This is the Gary Vault. So let's see. I think we've got this room here, which goes down to. Let's see, where does that go down to? It goes to 108B, which is the living quarters. So that vault goes to the living quarters, so you can go straight there here. Or if you follow the lights and everything, you can skip on through here, go around here, look at the skeleton. He's nice. He's kind of got like an air guitar pose going on. Big fan of it. This hall was much shorter in the original, but I figured this is another location where you can blend together the aesthetic of Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, so I went ahead and used one of the Fallout 4's hall kits for it, which are these larger halls that are kind of like dome shapes and everything. And I think the original was dome shaped, but it had more of like a what do you call those? A Quonset hut look to it, where it was perfectly rounded out. But the ones in Fallout 4, I just have like the curved ceiling, and they still have flat walls on the sides with all the piping and everything. And with the red emergency lighting and everything, I feel like it makes this look a lot more foreboding. So the player gets a sense of what's going on in this vault. You see the red, you're like, and you've already seen the skeletons and everything like that. You're just like, shit, I'm not gonna have a good time here. But that is true, Malaru. There is planking that is used on the doorways for this. Yeah, that's a good point. And then here is, which I don't know if I have them merged yet. Yeah, actually. So this is your first look at Gary. Wait, why is there? That Z fighting doesn't actually show up in game, as far as I'm aware. If it does, then it's something that I'll fix later on. But this is the first look at a Gary that you have. Ooh. Hold on. Shit. Guys, I'll be right back again. I actually have to go make a call real quick. Sorry to do this, but I'll go ahead and leave this on a nice little atmospheric screen for you guys. That way you have something to look at while I'm gone, so you can study this little scene that I've created for you. I'll be right back. That'll pop up here in a second. There it goes. Yeah, I'll be right back again. Sorry about that. I'm back. Yeah, sorry about that. My mama called me, so I had to make sure she was okay, make sure I was eating and all that. Welcome all the new people to the stream, and yes, I do know the way. Always make time for mama. I owe that woman my life. The least I can give her is my time. Alright, so moving on to the next room. This room I actually had to add some extra stuff in because in the original it is pretty much like dead empty. So like I really wasn't really sure exactly how I could make it look a little bit better. Because it's kind of hard to really understand what exactly this room is. Like I could probably add in some consoles and a table, maybe. In fact, I think there might be a table in the corner over here. No, that must be a different room that I'm thinking of. So yeah, I had to do something, but there wasn't a whole lot that I could do, unfortunately. But of course, it's also got electrical arts shooting off, just like the other rooms do. And a bunch of blood to really make it feel like, yeah, this is gonna suck whenever I go through here. Hey, Flynn. Off to the side are a bunch of really nondescript rooms. There's really nothing going on in either of these areas, so they're kind of boring. But that's exactly how they were in the original, so there's not much I could do. That's what you call world building. You don't have to add in a room off to the side that has nothing in it, that serves no purpose whatsoever. In fact, many game companies would consider that a waste of resources. But that is one thing that Bethesda does all right, is they have no problem adding in extra things that players can see that serve really no purpose, because at the very least it helps flesh out this world. We don't understand what the purpose of this room is, but it does, at least speaking from a lore standpoint, from a story standpoint, from a world standpoint, it does serve a purpose, even if we don't understand what that is. And that happens a lot with sci-fi, in general. Like there's a lot of that in Star Wars and Star Trek, where you can walk into a room, and even though you don't really understand what that room is for, you can see buttons, you can see bells and whistles. You don't know what it's for, but the characters do, and that's what matters. Then off here to the side, we've got yet another generator room. And this also seems to be what houses the vault's mainframes, as well, which as of right now we only actually have the regular mainframes. We need to get a texture for it that actually has the lights turned off, because that's actually used in a lot of areas. But I actually kind of liked the ones that are on, because at least it gives you that nice red glow, which kind of counteracts the blue glow and the electricity that's kind of shooting off in this area too, because of course there is electricity shooting off in this area as well. I love the electricity arcs. I can't help it. I can't not put them in, especially since it adds a little bit of gameplay where there was none before. But there is containers that you can search in the room, and I believe there is also a mole rat somewhere in here. But for now, though, that's all I'm going to show of Vault 108. I'm going to leave the residential area as well as the cloning labs for our monthly update. And once the monthly update comes out, then I wouldn't have as much problem showing it off, more of it on a stream. But now that we're done here, I don't really have any other interiors that I can really show off at the moment. So we're going to go ahead and go back to doing the... what was I working on? I keep forgetting the fucking name of it, even though I was excited to do it. Germantown Police Headquarters, that's what it is. All right, here we go. That's right. I was laying out the roads, so that way I know exactly where it is I need to go. So let's see. This is behind it. So let's flip it back this way, so that we're looking at it from the same angle. And it actually extends a little bit past the cell boundary here, and flips this way. And then it connects to this road down here, so I can actually probably move this one over just a little bit more. And then I'll just copy paste these roads for now. Okay, I see what these guys did actually now. So first off, I'm going to have to replace this with the exit version of it. Looks like it actually has another wall section here. But I don't think the other side has any kind of entrance to it. Yeah. In fact, I don't think there are any other entrances to it. You can only get in from the side and from the back. So double check, make sure that looks right. It's two windows. Alright. Now I'll have to break apart these here in just a little bit. It's going to be kind of a pain in the ass. But that also means that I have to delete these two and make those into regular wall pieces. When am I going to stop streaming? I don't know. I tend to stream, I usually stream for 3 or 4 hours before I stop. And I'm only 2.5 hours into it. So I'll probably stop here in about anywhere within the next like hour and a half. Made up of exactly. That's not what I want. I need building shell. Wall. Yeah, that's what I want. And that goes pretty much from here, I think. Let's see how many... Yeah, it goes about from there. Oh boy, and they don't line up. Okay, well. That's not too big of a deal. I think I can probably do something to deal with that. Welcome to the stream, Michael J. Caboose. You still hating babies? Oh, Ashley beat me to it. And then this one right here needs to be deleted and replaced with a door. Not my fault. Somebody put a wall in my way. Why? Oh wait, that's exactly what I need actually. There we go. We're doing great, Michael J. Caboose. And yes, Dragon Fortune, Ashley is 100% correct. We have somebody who has completely 100% recreated the Metro set from Fallout 3. So it'll look exactly like the Fallout 3 equivalent. Yeah, it's pretty crazy shit. Dude did a great job on it too, let me tell you. Ah, shit. One of the other people in here that's familiar with Fallout modding, what's the button to break up skulls? I forgot. Is there? Right click, fragment skull. Thank you. And yes, there is a pillar here, actually. I didn't know that. That would have been very helpful. And it almost fits perfectly for what I needed. These walls don't line up perfectly. Ah! I can deal with it, though. That's fine. Yeah, see, Alt U was actually the one I knew about. And it sounds like that soundtrack is finally over. And yeah, the Fallout 4 metros are really boring, I think, comparatively. I do like them. I like the different style of architecture, like the more round tunnels and everything like that, but I do actually prefer the dingier look to the originals. Myself. Let's see, what else we got here? What we got? Is this worth it? No. No, it isn't. This one's always good.
Listen, all this takes a lot of getting used to.
Okay. Yes, this is the Bastion soundtrack. One of my favorite, not my favorite, but one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Okay, now let's see what we can do here. I do kind of want to like put these down just a little bit, but otherwise I still like it because this place is still like run by super mutants and shit, so it should be a little bit creepy still. Yeah, Halo 2 and Halo 3, they both have amazing soundtracks. For sure. Let's take a look at the original building here and see what we can do with this. So pretty much the top windows need to be is where the roof is, and the windows underneath will have glass put into it. We're going to be using the Fallout 4 Super Mutants. As far as I know, if we're doing anything otherwise, I haven't been told about it, so maybe I'm wrong and I just don't know yet, which is entirely possible because we're a small team, but we're broken up into different parts, and I'm just a level designer, so I might not entirely know what the scripting guys are wanting to do, you know. Like, I know that there has been some interest in replacing ghouls with the ones that look more like the ones in Fallout 3, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's something that we would be able to do, just based on how creatures work and everything like that. So I'm not going to sit here and promise anything, especially if we end up being incorrect. Nobody's gonna be subscribing to your channel, Born. Please, nobody likes it when people do that. Don't go into other people's channels and ask people to subscribe to yours, because that's rude. First off, extremely rude, and otherwise, nobody likes people who beg. I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but that's just how that works, man. So I'm thinking for these corner pieces, I'm going to have to go ahead and more or less duplicate. Hold on one second. Got a Facebook message, which could be my girlfriend. But yes, we are wanting to include centaurs. We've actually got a model for them already created and everything, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we'll be able to implement them. It's kind of like that kind of thing with Bethesda games. Like, modding in new creatures and making sure that they look unique and everything that takes a lot of work, and is not your typical modding experience overall. It might be something that we're able to do. It might not. It depends on a lot of different things. But we're gonna try for sure. Welcome to the stream, Ola. That would be interesting to do, Malaru, but we do our best, because there are a handful of Bethesda alumni that we can contact and that we have the ability to message. But we do our best not to do that, because, you know, they could be at a different point in their life, and they might not no longer want to work on something like that, and And far be it from us to bother them with problems that we're having with a game that they don't want to work on anymore, you know? Yeah, I'm kind of the same way with that. Like, personally, once I'm done with the project, I would probably not want anything to do with that project anymore. I mean, that's not always the case, but you can't, you know, guarantee that. And if you end up, like, asking somebody to work on something that they don't want to, and, like, that's your only real interaction with them, that could have a lasting impression, you know. And it's like you could have just lost a good friend who maybe, you know, you can use as a reference if you're ever trying to get into the industry, you know. There's a lot of, like, interpersonal dynamics that you have to worry in regards to things like that. All right. I'm not really sure what you mean, Ashley. I mean, oh, whoops. I didn't mean to delete that one. I mean, they are half pieces, but, like, I mean, if I rotate them 90 degrees, like, it's, I mean, like, this up here doesn't need to be pretty, anyway, just because it's not an area that you're really able to see. You're only able to... The only reason this has a roof at all is just because there are so many hilly areas around it, so that way, you, from a distance, you would be able to look down into it. This music is... Bastion. It's the soundtrack for the video game Bastion. Let's see. Yeah, those are definitely half pieces. So I have to use the half stairs for that spot, I guess. But that means that I can actually push these to the wall. It's a little bit like that, actually. That's a good way to look at it. This is the official modding tools for Fallout 4, created by Bethesda themselves, so that people can make their own content for the game. It's called the Creation Kit. It allows you to create quests. It allows you to create worlds. It allows you to create, I mean, everything. If you've ever seen a mod for Fallout 4, you can guarantee that it probably uses the Creation Kit was probably used in some format. Yeah, they do say that it's the tools they use to make the game. I don't believe that. At least they use a modified version that they don't give to the public. But you know, whatever. We should... Pretty much every quest that you see in Fallout 4 is something that can be replicated. To some degree. Like, it requires advanced scripting, yes, and we have to have very smart people, not me, who can do that kind of thing. But yeah, there's a ton of really cool shit that we'll be able to do with it. Do I have any background in game creation or anything? No, none whatsoever. These tools, I would not necessarily say that the tools are noob friendly, but there's definitely things that even people who don't have any kind of like experience with game development, they can still use these tools. I myself, again, don't have any experience with game development beyond using tools for modding. I think my modding experience started with Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, where I started using the tool set called it's called like GTK Radiant, which is the level editor for a bunch of old games. I used it specifically for Jedi Academy, but it was designed for Quake, I think Medal of Honor, Allied Assault, and a couple of the other ones immediately after that used it, like Allied Forces, and one of the others. And a handful of other games used it as well. And that was my first experience with game development. I didn't really... or game development, mod development. After that, though, I didn't really do much in the way of modding, but... until I found out about Oblivion. Oblivion was the first time that I started really trying to do mods myself. I started with doing some like basic player houses and stuff like that. And I was wanting to do like this big grand quest line with a big world space that was basically just ocean with water, and I was wanting to design it specifically for that one boat mod that came out for Oblivion, where you could actually pilot a boat and everything. I wanted to make a big world space that had tons of like islands on it, so that way you could actually use your boat to sail between these islands and everything. And you could be a pirate or part of the military, like a faction's military or something like that. But I never got the chance to do that because I was way beyond what I can do. It still is way beyond what I can do. But it slowly moved on from there, and since Bethesda has used the same engine, the same video game engine, since Morrowind, they've just slowly tacked on more and more features to it. That's kind of how I still am able to do what I do. Like, a lot of the things that I learned whenever I first started modding Oblivion back in like 2009 or 2010, maybe even 2008, are still very applicable today for the most part. There have been certain updates and things that change between iterations, but a lot of the core mechanics still stay the same. It's hilarious, Rabbit. But yes, apparently Ashley runs a game development company. That's something I did not know about her. That's really cool. Yeah, so far I completely agree with that assessment. The Fallout 4 creation kit is the best one to work with. I actually tried recently to go back and work with the Fallout 3 Garden of Eden creation kit, and that didn't work. It was bad. Oh god, trying to find the correct stairs. Always fun. I think that's kind of what I'm wanting to use here. What are you going to do for the scripts? Convert them? No, you cannot convert them, because actually, since I want to say, I don't remember if Skyrim and Oblivion, or Skyrim and Fallout 4 use the same scripting engine. At some point, they changed which language they use for their scripting. So we actually can't just port over scripts. We have to try our best to. We're doing our best to try to recreate some of the scripts, basically just from scratch, essentially. And while it is proving somewhat of a challenge, we are making leeway with it. I don't have any gameplay that I can show you currently, but we have released some videos of some of the quests that we have completed to a certain extent. It's not exactly the same as the originals, but it's something, you know, which is always better than nothing. I'm a very eloquent speaker, if you hadn't caught on to that yet. I try my best, but I still stumble. You know, it happens. I could, but apparently the quests are a little bit weird with how they work sometimes, so I actually can't do that. Otherwise, I would. I would love to show you guys some more gameplay and stuff. Like, the most gameplay that I can really show you is show you how locations look in game, and I do that sometimes. But I don't go in game to check out things very often. I usually just wait until somebody says I did something wrong, and then I'll go back and check on it. That would be cool. I was actually... There's a mod that I'm working on in my free time. Ooh, that actually almost lines up perfectly. There's a mod I'm working on in my free time, which is basically just a fashion mod, because girl characters get everything, you know? They have all of the lovely, like, skimpy bikini armor mods and everything. And men... you kind of have to wait for like a big outfit mod to come out before the men get anything, and even then they don't. It doesn't really look like they get as much care as the female armors do. So I'm working on a mod called 6 Fashion, where I've been making suits and stuff for men, so that way they can look all slick and dapper and everything. And I was planning. Or I was tinkering with the idea of making myself an NPC for that, so that way I could like run a little store where you can go and buy these outfits. That doesn't entirely work, Lababi. Like, you would spend more time working on the script compiler than would be necessary because of how certain functions work and everything. We've talked about it a good bit. Our development team has. It's not as easy as you would hope. Oh, by the way, I do know that I will be ending the stream here in about, probably about 15 minutes or so. My girlfriend messaged me on Facebook a minute ago and said that I need to go and pick her up early. Yeah, I kind of was wanting to apply to Cascadia as a voice actor, because I've been wanting to do some sort of voice acting, because the only voice acting I've done so far is I've voiced 2 cut characters in Shoddycast for Storyteller, and then of course I play a character in my machinima. because I'm conceited. And I wanted to give myself a main voice role. Which is funny because my character in my show literally just uses the same voice that I do. Just like I lean into my own voice a little bit. So like my character Jameson, instead of sounding like this, he sounds like this. Michaels, what are you doing? Which it's a little bit cheesy, but it's meant to be. That was kind of like the purpose of it. And like it sounds, it's begun to sound a lot more natural in the show, which is generally how voice acting usually works for that kind of thing, especially whenever you've got, you know, voice actors who aren't actual professional voice actors. I do too use grid snap. Well, no, I don't use this grid snap. No, I don't. It's because I usually don't need to. Having the having like this kind of grid snap on usually helps out, but whenever I'm doing like the edges like this, I try to make it look as good as possible from the very beginning, if I can. Yeah, no, we've actually talked about it a lot in our development chat recently. The fact that I'm really lazy and prefer to do things specifically my way. Even though I know that there are tools and things that can help speed up the process, I'm just too set in my ways. I'm too used to how I do things, and I can't not do it my way. Like, there have been a few instances where I've adopted something new into my personal workflow. But it's not often. I'm not making it fly with it. I'm rotating it slightly. I was only doing it for those pieces, just that way there's like some extra edge to it, like out here, because otherwise I would be having it flush up against this wall and everything. But now I'm using larger pieces, and I'm going to be going through and doing just the edges that are up against the wall. I just wanted to have that little bit be sticking out more than the others, so I was using the flat pieces. Oh, okay. I do like a major rotation sometimes. I just don't feel the need to for this area specifically. Because I'm working on an area now that like people won't be paying attention to very much. No, this is not one of the vanilla ones. This is the placeholder one that I had made. I think the main reason yours never made it in game is because of the way it rotates, or like the way the rotation is kind of broken. Like the light reflects off of it weirdly whenever you have it tiled. I remember that being an issue for something, unless you got that fixed. If you got that fixed, I didn't know about it. But yeah, like the texture you made is great, and I think it's good enough to be the final texture for it. But that needs to be fixed before we should implement that, because we already have a placeholder texture, so there's no use replacing a placeholder with a placeholder. Well, if it's having some weird issues that you can't explain, then it's not the final. Because it has issues that you can't explain. Like, you need to be able to explain it and fix it before it's the final version. Dude, I have no idea what your problem could be with that. But, like, I'm not saying that, what you did isn't good and doesn't need to be used. Like I said, those textures should be the final one. Like, they're way better than my textures, but, like, if there's that issue there, then... especially if it affects screenshots, considering we share so many development screenshots, there's not much point in implementing them now and using them, because they might mess with the screenshots that we can currently take. Wait, so they're fine if you don't rotate them? Because, I mean, if they're a tiled texture, then you shouldn't ever need to rotate them. Like, if they're made to be rotatable, that's great and everything, but, like, if you don't have to, why would you? Have I ever played any of the Wolfenstein games? Yes. My dad had me playing Wolfenstein, like Return to Castle Wolfenstein whenever I was a kid. In fact, Return to Castle Wolfenstein I think is very, very formative in me wanting to do modding for Bethesda in general, like Bethesda games, because of just that dingy, almost horror like aesthetic. We do try to be mindful of bugs like that. I can't guarantee that we'll be completely bug-free. Like, nobody can really promise anything like that. But we're gonna try to make sure shit like that doesn't happen. I mean, at the very least, fixing something's direction like that is pretty easy. I mean, it's usually just as easy as placing in a north marker into a cell, from what I understand. And if not, then, I mean, at least you can zoom out and select every single piece of an interior. And rotate it, and hopefully nothing will break. But yeah, we've been pretty fucking mindful of bugs that exist in the original game like that. Like Nihito said, Rivet City had a very big problem with that, and we're making sure to include those kind of fixes in our iteration. No, that's actually a really good point, Dragon. That would be something that if players were very quick to notice anything like that, that they could be like, wait, that's not right. That would actually really add to it. That might be something that I could discuss with the team. There we go, Germantown. I'm saving, and I've got to go ahead and jump off for now. Got to go pick up my girlfriend, though. As Ashley requested of me earlier, well, not really a request, but kind of just ended up almost feeling like a request, I may be streaming some risque artwork later. I might try out some pinups. I might not specifically go straight into doing Fallout pinups, because I'll have to warm myself up and everything and get used to doing digital art again, or digital illustration again, I should say. And if I do, just you know, look back or look for me elsewhere. And if yeah, I'm definitely gonna check the rules and everything. And if that doesn't work out, then well, shit, I wouldn't know what to do really. But I'm almost entirely sure that, like, as long as there's no sexual content necessarily, like rated in sexual content involved, then it should be fine. But I'll have to double check. Otherwise, I'll talk to all of you guys later. Thank you for joining in, and I'll probably at the very least be back tomorrow with more Road to Liberty development. And I will see you guys later. Bye.